Action Comics number 8, written by Grant Morrison, art by Rags Morales and Brad Walker. This issue is mostly fight scene and then like 7 epilogues. So I'm just gonna move through as fast as I can. Last issue picked up with him picking a fight with Brainiac, and here we are. So we open up with all the shrunken Earthlings in Metropolis looking out at the fight, and Lex Luthor's like, I would rather live out the rest of my life in this bottle than be saved by Superman. And Lois is like, that's stupid. And then we see the fight going on, where it is basically a 3-way fight between Superman, just Metallo, whatever his actual name is, whatever, and Brainiac. And Metallo and Brainiac are like pretty much fused together, like they are speaking for each other here. And throughout the whole fight, every once in a while, like bursts of emotion come out of Brainiac or out of Metallo, and he's like, "Oh, Lois, I did this for you, please." And because of that, Brainiac's like, "Oh, okay, no, I don't like this emotion stuff. Get off of me. Get off. I'm done. I'm done with you. Go away." So eventually, it comes down to a thing of Metallo's able to push through his programming or whatever and be like, "Oh, I'm a threat. You got to take me out, Superman, so that you can take out Brainiac." And he does. He just punches him out. Meanwhile, the entire time throughout this, Brainiac just keeps on saying like, "Oh, you cannot possibly mess with my collection. It's so perfect and pure. You're necessary for it. Everything's in mint condition. I put it in bags," and blah, blah. It's poking fun at comic collecting. It gets really obvious once he starts talking about mint condition. One interesting thing here is, though, as he's going through his like collection and crashing into some stuff, the actual like armor he's wearing changes from the blue and red to a gold and green and then a red and white. I don't know why. It's not mentioned or explained or anything like that, but he takes on like a bunch of different symbols as well. I don't know. I'm saying that in case it comes up later. So regardless, the fight continues on, and Brainiac basically makes the thing of like, "No, look, your world is doomed and I'm here to save it." And he's like, No, you don't understand. As long as I'm around, the world is safe. Therefore, put this city back. And he's like, "Well, no, I don't want to." And then Superman threatens to just break everything in his collection because he's like, "You literally cannot stop me from doing that. I will destroy everything you have." And he's like, "No, okay, all right. I guess we can come to something." And as he's got him on the like defensive, Superman reaches into the Bottle City Metropolis, pulls out the itty bitty shrunken rocket that has been calling out to him this whole time, and he's like, "I'm willing to bet that much like me and my armor I'm wearing, my ship is also indestructible, and it's also a like sentient crystal computer, and I bet you have no defenses against that." And he flicks it at Brainiac, and it goes inside of his like brain, and immediately crystals start shooting out in every direction, and I guess Brainiac is taken care of. So then Superman collapses, and it's like counting down the seconds until miniaturation is permanent. And he gets into some beam of light, and he's like, "Get Metropolis back to full size." And then it works. Doesn't really explain how, but it does. And he looks down, and from space, he's on Brainiac's ship, and he looks down, and he just smiles at the Earth. And then epilogues. So everyone reunites with everybody down. There also was a whole thing of Glenn Morgan is literally just like crazy talking where he's like, "I saw God and there was a tiny man behind the bar and he's the devil and I'm in hell. Someone let me repent." So he's giving up like all this dirt to reporters because he's just trying to repent because he thinks he's in hell. They question whether or not Steel is going to be a superhero, named Steel. We see Lex just bailing because Superman's a thing now. And then we cut over to Clark and his editor at the Daily Star, who are like, "Hey, Clark, you did a great job. Glenn Morgan went absolutely batshit crazy, and he confessed to everything. And none of that would have been possible without you. So how about you go join the Daily Planet now?" Which I guess is good from Clark's perspective, but from the Daily Star doesn't seem great. And then there's a quick talk of Superman and his landlord, because if you remember back in like issue 3, she found out about his secret, and basically they just say like, yeah, no, I'm not going to tell your secret to anybody, but like, why don't you go out and make some real money or something like that. Then we see the person who was giving hints about Glenn Morgan was actually Lex Luthor talking to Clark Kent under a code name, so that's a thing. And then we get Metallo, who is being held captive by the military under heavy sedation. So there's that. And then all at once, we flip the page, and I assume Brad Walker's the one who took over art. And it's not bad. It is not bad art, but it does not look anything at all like Rags Morales' art. And it was such a jarring change. So, he's getting the key to the city, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, so here's the deal, guys. I am an alien. Let's all just learn to work together, and I'll always be out there to protect the little guy. Okay, thank you. And then Lois steps forward. It's like, Lois, Superman, do you have a place where you go to be alone? And then we see him think for a second, and then he goes cut to the Smallville graveyard where he's talking to his parents, and he's like, hey, it turns out they like me, and I'm able to use my powers, and I don't have to be scared of whatever they'll think of me or whatever. So yeah, cool, awesome. And then he flies off into the sky, up to the Brainiac ship, where he speaks in Kryptonian the whole time, so I have no idea what he's saying. But as he looks out through like the big dome of glass over Earth, you get this like feeling that he's watching over it. So yeah, there's that. And then final epilogue in New Caledonia, Dinosaur Island. There's a dinosaur charging after a hunter guy who is named Mr. Zarov, and also that tiny little diminutive man who was behind the bar and also was in the beginning of the book, and he's just been around, and I'm sure he's going to come up later. The diminutive man is saying like, hey, he says you can hunt anything, says you've hunted everything, but can you hunt a bulletproof man? And then Dr. Zarov shoots the dinosaur in the head and says, there's no such thing as bulletproof. And that's where we end. Okay, it's fine. Like, I don't know. It didn't seem like... I don't know what the trajectory there was. Like it was just the fight scene at the end, and then all of a sudden he thought, and he's like, my ship could probably penetrate that thing because it managed to go through space. And then it just did. And then he just said, all right, turn back to normal. And it worked. Like, it kind of just feels like Superman's able to do whatever he wants because he's Superman. And to be fair, if that's the way Grant Morrison's going with it, that's fine. I have no issue with that at all. But it is an interesting take because it just seemed like, so, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. As for epilogues, dear Lord, do we need to go Return of the King on this? All of them are fine. The only thing, like, I completely forgot that the landlord knew his secret identity. Like 2,000%. So, yeah, there was that. Same thing with him getting calls from Lex Luthor. That 2 issues in the middle of this arc, just to cut to the Legion of Superheroes in the future, totally unnecessary and should have been cut. But we had it and whatever. So, overall, I give this one like, it's a 7. It's fine. It's good, even. I like it. It's just a matter of, it's a lot. And I can see why people wouldn't like it. So, yeah, 7 for this. The art change was jarring, so that brings it down a little bit. But I like both art styles, so I guess that brings it up. I don't know. Bouncing back and forth, it comes out to a 7.